Welcome to episode 1 of Before the Walk, where we chat with fighters, footballers, athletes, and anyone in life who's daring to make the walk towards greatness. And today we're delighted to be joined by one of the nicest and realest men in the game of boxing, Dylan Moran. Dylan, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm all good, man. I'm glad we were finally able to find a way and a time that suits all of us to come together and have this conversation.
Yeah, finally. It's been a long time coming.
It has. I think last time I was speaking to you were over in Tenerife, so it's nice to have you back on Irish shores as well.
It's good to be home. I'm really enjoying the home comforts. Like you said, I was away for a while. And yeah, I'm enjoying being at home, getting the work in, being around family and friends. So yeah, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and I especially appreciate you taking the time. 3 weeks out today from your comeback fight. I know you were training this morning. In general, how's training going? How's the body feeling?
Yeah, everything is going perfect, to be honest. Camp's going great. Usually you have your hiccups, but no, not this time round. It's been going as good as can be. 3 weeks out, just barred 8 rounds yesterday. Felt really good in there, and 2 weeks hard training left, and that should get me to where I need to be.
Good man. I love to hear it. And I don't want to poke any holes here, but I keep up with your Twitter quite a lot. I love your tweets. I think like more or less every other morning you post some like really stoic, nice reflection on just, taking the high road in life, doing the right thing, sticking to the simple principles. But I seen you had a tweet up the other day where you mentioned about going into hospital for an MRI. I just wanted to ask, is everything okay with you?
Yeah, so that was just the medicals for boxing that you have to get done every year. But in that tweet, I said that I'm stressing about stupid stuff, tracksuits, fight kits, and I walked into the hospital and there was a lot of roughly my age, young guys, young girls, in morning coats, and it was in actually the cancer ward. And I just got a
Okay.
big reality check that, how much I was taking things for granted. I was walking out that door again to go training, and I didn't have anything really to be complaining about. And it just took me to see that, to realize it, and yeah, it's just a good perspective.
Yeah. No, sometimes I think we all need those reality checks, but I think especially in that kind of I don't know like a pressure cooker almost when you're whether it's a boxing or fighting or footballers or whatever it is when you live in such a high pressure environment where you're judged by your wins and your losses and everything comes down to the fine details. It can be nice to step back sometimes and just look at the bigger picture.
That's it, yeah. Like I said, we're all blessed in our own ways, but we take it for granted on the daily. And I was definitely taking just being in full health for granted. Everything seems important until you become sick. Then you realise your health was all that matters. So yeah, it was a good reality check that day, and yeah, it's important not to forget those things.
No, for sure. And speaking of reality checks, something that I think you've always been well known for your boxing. And I think I first came across you in when you done the Talking Bollocks podcast. I don't even know
Yeah.
how many years ago that was now, but I've been following you since then. But I think something that you're gaining more, I don't know about fame, notoriety for, is the caravan, the living situation. Can you talk to me a little bit about the decision to go off into the caravan for 5 weeks or whatever it was?
Yeah, so basically, look, this next fight is make or break for me. My career's on the line. There's no point in saying otherwise. And I couldn't leave no stone unturned. And I just thought the idea of coming home and locking myself away from everyone, making sure I squeezed the 9 week training camp for what it's worth, um, going to the caravan would make it every bit a little bit better. So yeah, I've locked myself away in the caravan. I've said yeah beforehand, I'm quite enjoying it. I enjoy my own company, and yeah, like I said, I've locked away. I'm putting the time in, squeezing it for what it's worth, and I will be more than ready after 9 weeks in there. So yeah, look, different people, different things, but that's what works for me.
And was that like a purely independent decision, or were you talking to other fighters or other athletes who have done something similar before?
No, so I was going home, and I'm so used to being away on my own for all my training camps, locked away. Be it in Manchester in the gym on my own. I was in Germany on
Hmm.
my own. I was in Liechtenstein on my own, and I was going home, and I was staying in the family home, and it wasn't anything different. I was like, something has to change. So the idea of getting the caravan and just locking myself away would make it really feel like camp. And that's what it's all about, your environment, where you are, and just to have me switched on 24/7, and it's done exactly that.
And housing crisis situation. I have to ask, how much does a caravan set a man back these days?
God, the caravans, they're pricey enough. But my mum and dad happen to have one because they travel a lot during the summer. but I've cancelled our traveling plans because I've taken it. So
I'm sure you look after them if you win the fight anyway. So
yeah, I will. I will.
I love it. Another tweet that you had up the other day that I was going to say it resonated with me. It did, not in the same way as it does with you, but I think it's something that everybody can kind of take something from. Was the worst days in the arena beat the best in the stands, and it reminded me of, and I'm not sure if it was inspired by, but I think it's a poem by Theodore Roosevelt called "The Man in the Arena." And one
Yeah.
of my favorite sections of that is the last sentence, essentially, where it says, when talking about the man in the arena, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither knew victory nor defeat. And I wanted to ask you, obviously, coming off the back of your loss to Florian, and I know you spoke in much detail about kind of the highs and lows of boxing and how difficult it was for that. Are you more process focused nowadays than outcome focused?
Yeah, look, the process is the prize. I've learned that I've focused so much on the destination, and many times I've got there, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And
Mm,
then in the weeks and months afterwards, I realized the fun part, the exciting part, was actually the build up. You know, striving for something is where the fun is. Accumulating it, becoming it. But a lot of us don't pay attention to it. We think that when we get to wherever we want to be or whatever we want in our hand, that's going to be the big day that it all happens, and it isn't a lot of the time. It definitely wasn't for me. Like the Sky Sports fight, that was a horrible night for me. But the build up to it, the 8 weeks previous, which I didn't really pay much attention to. Now looking back, that's where the fun lied. So yeah, the
yeah.
process is a prize.
In relation to that, then the process being the prize. Obviously, boxing is the lifestyle that it entails being a professional boxer. To some people, can probably be very exciting, and to others, can probably seem very monotonous and repetitive. Is there anything that you do consciously to try and make it more exciting, or do you just love the process so much that it's exciting in and of itself?
I enjoy everything that comes with it. The disciplined lifestyle, the last 9 weeks, the being locked away. Like I said, I enjoy it, and it was just a perspective change that I had. Early days when I was having these fights, I used to dread camp, and as you grow older and you mature and you look at things a little bit different. I realized, I get to go to the gym twice a day, which is a blessing. I'm meeting all these people. I'm traveling the country sparring. I'm eating the best of food, and yeah, and it was just, and again, it was like, then you get to the destination and you might lose, and you're like, the process is the prize. I'll go back to. So yeah, I've got a perspective change where now when camp starts for me, I'm making sure I enjoy every single day, every single week, right up to the fight. And then on fight night, what will be. I'm not waiting for that night anymore. I'm enjoying every night on the lead up to it.
Yeah, no, great answer. And I think it was on the interview you did with, I'm not sure of the radio station. I think it's called WLR. It was one you done recently, anyway. And you were chatting about running. I think it was mostly about running. And you had mentioned that people said to you before, oh, running that much isn't going to help your boxing. And you said, I don't run to help my boxing. And
Yes.
you also spoke about the fact that after the Sky Sports fight, I don't know how confident you are in saying it, but you felt like part of you was done with boxing, or there was like that thought in the back of your head that this is me here. In that kind of 6 months or so, when you thought that you might have been finished with boxing, did you fall out of routine with exercise and stuff like that? And did you notice that not being in the competitive state had a big impact on your mental health?
That's a mad one, actually, because as bad as it was after the Sky Sports fight, I made sure I ran every day. And that just shows what I'm saying is true. I don't run for boxing. Running for me is like a therapy, honestly.
Hmm.
Getting out on the road every morning, getting my earphones in. A lot of the times I run without the earphones. And it's just you and your mind, you and your thoughts. And, I say it all the time. When you get out there and it's just you and yourself and you get in that zone and you're feeling it and you're hitting the road running, there's nothing better than that. Not for me anyway. And yeah, that definitely helped me to get back to where I am today after the Sky Sports fight. For as long as I was in Tenerife and as little training I was doing in terms of boxing, I ran every day. Because that's just how I operate. It's what I'm used to, and it's just how I get through my day.
No, it sounds good, man. And I don't know if you listen to much of other podcasts or anything like that, but there was one I was listening to recently. It was Chris Williamson's podcast. I can't remember the name of the guest, but he
He's
was
very good,
speaking about,
actually, Chris Williams.
yeah, the Modern Wisdom podcast. What Modern Wisdom podcast? It's brilliant. But the guest was talking about this idea of people who are hyper focused and highly successful, and that they kind of all have similar personality traits and similar issues. And one of the things that seems common across the board is this thing of like an internal tyrant. which is essentially this little voice in the back of your head where as soon as you wake up in the morning, little voice in the back of your head is already telling you that you're at a loss for the day and you need to, like, if you're not being productive, you're not useful to the world, you're not, living out your true potential. And it can be struggle or it can be difficult to deal with that. Is that something that you notice yourself dealing with, and does going for your runs every day help to keep that little internal tyrant at bay?
So I have that little tyrant every morning I wake up, bro. Honestly, and whether I win a fight, lose a fight, or life is stressful, he's always there, and it makes me jump out of the bed. You know, I always say do the hard things early in the day,
Mm,
and it sets you up. And I've been doing that for so long now that it's just how I operate. It's how I work. If I don't do it, yeah, I don't enjoy the day. I know I've been cheated. So yeah, I just get up every morning and it's a joy. It's not a burden on me anymore. Years ago it was, "Oh, I have to run." Now I
mm,
wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and I enjoy hitting the road.
nice. And then obviously the name of this series, Before the Walk, it's kind of obviously we want to talk to fighters and athletes and anyone who's making a walk towards greatness and to see what it means to be in that moment. But I think what often gets overlooked is the hard work isn't necessarily what you do in the ring or in the cage or on the pitch. It's everything you do to get to that point. And I've always been fascinated because, like, I've never fought before. I've never cut weight. I've never stepped in a ring. I've never known that there was somebody out there who was consciously working every day to try and punch my head in as much of as I was trying to do it to them. What kind of is there a switch in you that you feel goes off when you're in fight camp, or is there something that gets you in the zone when you know that there's a fight coming up?
Yeah, so we're 3 weeks out now. Usually about 2 weeks out from the fight, I go. I just go into my shell a lot. I don't like to see anyone. I like to be left alone. Even more so than I am now. You know, even when I get the weekends come around now, I go and see people. 2 weeks out from the fight, I just like to be left alone. Again, it's what works for me. Different people, different things. Other guys might like to see everyone and have everyone around them. I don't. I just go quiet right up until the walk to the ring. But yeah, I actually read a good quote the other day, and it said, "You earn the trophies in training. You just pick them up on the night."
Mm,
And that's one of the truest ones I've seen in a while now. So yeah, it's like look, the last few weeks have been a joy. But from Monday on now, I will start to kind of lock myself away, and yeah, get in the zone.
yeah, it's a great quote that you're in the trophies and training and you pick them up on the night.
Yeah,
Um, in relation then to kind of where you're at mentally now, 3 weeks out from the fight that you described as being the kind of career defining fight. If I could see inside the head of Dylan Moran now, what would I see?
I'm very confident, very happy where I'm at. Things have gone better than I could have asked for, and I honestly believe that this is my fight. I just had to go the long and the hard route to get here.
Nobody can ever say that Dylan Moran didn't earn his stripes, whatever way things go on the night, because we see it on. I know that you don't like being referred to as like. There's been things in the past said about, oh, he's an Instagram boxer or whatever. He loves,
Yeah,
showing off on the social media. But I think if anything, your social media just kind of shines a light on the hard realities that nothing in life is given to you, and no matter
no.
how much effort and energy and time you put into something, it doesn't mean it's going to work out.
Exactly. You know, you get what you work for, not what you deserve. A lot of people think they deserve a lot in this life. We're owed none. You're owed what you go and get, and it's that simple.
Nice, nice. Well, Dylan, you're a gentleman, you're a talented boxer, and you're one of the realest people in the game. And I'm so grateful for you for giving up some of your time today after a hard week of training to sit down and talk to me.
Not at all, my friend. The pleasure's been mine. Thank you very much.